Ron DeSantis' whole shtick as governor of Florida and presidential hopeful is that he is against the woke, against wokeness. And now he's pushing the idea of some kind of, quote, woke mind virus, a phrase popularized, of course, by his pal, the billionaire chief twit, Elon Musk. Musk has been pushing the idea of a woke mind virus for nearly 18 months now. And yet this is the best he could come up with to describe his boogeyman, even in the friendliest of interviews.
I think we need to be very cautious about anything that is anti-meritocratic and anything that is that results in the suppression of free speech. Those are two of the aspects of the woke mind virus that I think are very dangerous.
Hollywood has long been a reflection of the key themes of society in each era. Recently, we've all noticed the rise of the woke movement in Hollywood. Now, don't get me wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with greater inclusivity and giving everyone a chance to showcase their talents. However, an important question arises. How far is too far in this race to prove one's virtue through tolerance? In recent times, these issues have escalated beyond anyone's control. While most people choose to stay silent on these matters, some dare to speak out against them. One of those individuals is none other than the iconic Clint Eastwood. Many people believe he may not be the biggest fan of Native Americans, but to what extent is that claim relevant today? Watch as he speaks up and voices his opinions about this ongoing extremist movement in Hollywood and takes a stand against it.
I don't know if I should present this award on behalf of all the cowboys shot in all the John Ford westerns over the years.
There are two sides to this coin. On one hand, most celebrities refrain from saying anything that they think might possibly offend the audience in any way. They usually don't try to engage in anything happening around them, perhaps out of fear of getting canceled or losing their credibility among fans. But Clint Eastwood isn't one of those people. Clint Eastwood, a cinematic icon, has never backed away from sharing his opinions, especially when it comes to the evolving landscape of Hollywood. As a director, producer, and actor, Eastwood has undoubtedly created a legacy rooted in traditional storytelling, authenticity, and character-driven narratives. However, in recent years, he has expressed growing frustration with what we can refer to as woke Hollywood. To understand Eastwood's viewpoint, we should look at his impressive career. He started as the man with no name in Sergio Leone's spaghetti westerns, and went on to direct acclaimed films like Unforgiven and Mystic River. Throughout his extensive body of work, Eastwood has focused on strong, complex characters and moral gray areas. He often addresses difficult topics, demonstrating his readiness to face uncomfortable truths. This dedication to meaningful storytelling shapes his criticism of today's Hollywood. Bootlicking the audience is something that most people have learned to do, especially in the entertainment industry. This norm and attitude have definitely become off-putting, especially in recent years. In such an environment, people like Clint Eastwood are like a refreshing breath of fresh air.
You're thinking, what's a movie tradesman doing out here? You know, they're all left-wingers out there, left of Lenin. At least that's what people think, but that's not really the case. There's a lot of conservative people, a lot of moderate people, Republicans, Democrats in Hollywood. It's just that conservative people, by the nature of the word itself, play a little more close to the vest, and they don't go around hot dogging it.
This no-nonsense attitude of Clint Eastwood is the reason why so many people absolutely love him, both as an actor and as a person. He has never been one to back down, which we can also see in the roles he has played over the years. At 94 years old, he's still going strong. It appears has had enough of what seems to be Hollywood's fear of the audience, or should we say, the cancel culture. You might be thinking, well, what's the most a 94-year-old man can say anyway? Probably just a few remarks here and there expressing his opinions and nothing else. This assumption might actually be correct in most cases, but you might actually be surprised. Because oh boy, this is Clint Eastwood we are talking about, and he seems to have no filter at all. Don't believe me? Just take a look for yourself. Recently, people have started talking about the 1973 awards with Clint Eastwood.
Mr. Clint Eastwood. Wow.
Well, you might not be completely aware of the context, so what happened was a controversy involving Marlon Brando. His iconic role as Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather earned nominations from all major awards organizations. He won his second Academy Award and another Golden Globe, but controversially chose to decline both. During the Oscars telecast, he sent Sachin Littlefeather to announce his refusal, citing Hollywood's unfavorable depiction of Native Americans. And people were on edge after this. That was the moment that Clint Eastwood stepped up.
I don't know if I should present this award on behalf of all the cowboys shot in all the John Ford westerns over the years.
And that's what Clint Eastwood is all about. He's known for his on-point remarks about almost everything. At this moment, this one-liner basically changed the situation completely. What was just a lighthearted comment at the time, and remained so for almost 50 years, was brought up again. You might be wondering, how is that even relevant after so much time has passed? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's not relevant, but in today's ultra-sensitive world, some so-called woke people feel the need to dissect every little thing. I mean, seriously, what normal person has the time, brain, or capacity to analyze things that happened decades ago? People launched a cancel campaign against Clint Eastwood for one line that he said. And if that wasn't enough, some were even calling him racist and insensitive for making these remarks. However, it's really interesting to see how the world has changed so much between these two eras. What was once considered a normal joke is now dissected to the point of labeling Clint as a racist and insensitive man. This attempt made by attention-seeking wokies failed miserably, as people were quick to defend Clint and take his side on this issue. If this wasn't the peak example of the massive rise of cancel culture, then I probably have the wrong definition of cancel culture. As Hollywood has grown more and more towards favoring and catering to woke culture, the facet of individuality has slowly declined. Guess what? Clint has never apologized for who he is and has remained unapologetic in his beliefs. Clint has been among the few people who just were not having it.
You know, he's so right when he talks about get over it. Please get over it. Because we have gone, I mean, we're moving toward almost a fascistic political correctness in which you have to have one view in Hollywood, you have to have another in Wall Street and another in Washington, sometimes entirely divorced from the previous.
Clint Eastwood has talked about how Hollywood has changed, especially with woke culture. He remembers a time when movies focused on universal themes and strong characters, those good old days when the sole focus was not just on pleasing the masses. Eastwood, known for his tough style and direct storytelling, feels that today's films often place political correctness on a pedestal, prioritizing it even over creativity. He and many others like him believe that this limits good storytelling. According to Clint Eastwood, movies should explore complex characters and moral questions without putting too much pressure on what society thinks.
It's dull. It's, nobody's enjoying. I grew up in a neighborhood with lots of different types of people, a lot of different nationalities, and along the way, because I moved a lot, I was born in the Depression, and so I moved a lot, and I knew a lot of people, and I always enjoyed the differences. And I think if people enjoy the differences in everybody, then they are willing to, to have fun with it. We used to have fun with it. We'd insult each other and laugh and scratch with it, and it was not a bad thing.
He believes that in his time, movies focused on entertainment and real human experiences. Even then, all kinds of people used to live together in harmony, and things were going just fine. He believes that filmmaking should focus on complex characters and tough moral questions without being influenced by social pressures. He thinks today's politically correct environment restricts creativity and prevents stories from resonating deeply with audiences. Eastwood's concerns reflect a broader debate in the film industry about finding a balance between social responsibility and creative freedom. He supports a return to clear and powerful storytelling, like in classic films, where filmmakers can explore themes without worrying about backlash or censorship. He believes that cinema should focus on provoking thought and evoking emotion, rather than just promoting ideological messages. Just think about Gran Torino for a moment. Can you imagine if that movie were made today?
Put your ass over there.
I mean, a black man acting as the villain. People would go absolutely frenzy about it and claim that the only reason he was cast as the villain is that he is a black man. Even though that is something completely irrelevant, it used to be a non-issue back when people weren't just a bunch of snowflakes. Now, let's just talk about how that movie is so different. Gran Torino follows the story of a war veteran, Walt Kowalski, who forms an unlikely friendship with his Hmong neighbors while confronting his own prejudices and seeking redemption after a violent past. This is exactly what makes Clint's movies stand out among the rest. He is not afraid to deal with tough subjects and is aware of reality. But even after that, he does not let that hinder the creative aspect of his films. Clint is a person interested in making movies that have some impact on people, films that can make them think. It's fairly easy to create something that just checks all the woke boxes, but to go above and beyond and create something that can have a real impact on their ideologies is what Clint is all about. That's what his movies and he as a person stand for. If Gran Torino were to hit theaters today, it would be labeled as too controversial. By the time its trailer even dropped, people would have been ready to cancel it. And by people, I'm mostly talking about the woke crowd who would be out in full force, ready to make all sorts of remarks and claims. But Clint is not someone who would ever give in to these things and change. He is here to make movies about real-world scenarios and keep it real with the people who actually enjoy some reality and creativity in cinema. Which aspect of Clint Eastwood's approach to filmmaking resonates with you the most? Do you think his willingness to tackle tough subjects is refreshing, or do you believe it risks being seen as controversial in today's climate? We'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you found this video entertaining, don't forget to like this video and share it for more such content. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon for more updates.